This is my second of 3 travel notebooks, and this one is about Prague. I traveled this summer with the Dallas Symphony Choir, the DSC. It's the Charles Bridge in Prague, and they sang in Smetana Hall in Prague. But before, we all toured these European cities. It's the castle in Prague. And here's a little map of the area. Just kind of cut it up and put it there. A little bit of our agenda. Fun thing about doing travel notebooking in a hotel is that you meet people in the lobby that are very fascinated with what you're doing. And this gal from Kuwait wanted to explore with me, so I taught her how to do travel notebooking. And here's some restaurants that we went to. One of them was called Milnik, and it was at the base of the Charles Bridge, and they served gazpacho, and when they served it, it had a smoky lid where they took the lid off and all the smoke dissipated. So they smoked the soup. It was awesome. So you can see off in the distance here, the Charles Bridge. There were some swans swimming at the base too. So of course I put those there. That was our nice romantic walk that evening. So one of the fun things that I was fascinated about was exploring my family roots, because I noticed that I'm Czechoslovakian, and with that, I'm also Moravian. So I found these old pillows that my great-grandmother had sewn, and when I did exploration, discovered that that pattern is uniquely Moravian. It's my grandpa, my great-grandmother, and we explored the astronomical clock. And our tour guide, Iva, did an excellent job of explaining it. I told her she needed to make a YouTube video. So when I went to the Ethnographic Museum, I had some of the workers there sign my book, and they toured me around. This is a sweet gal. She is amazing with her hospitality. We met a few folks from Australia and went to the Natural History Museum as well. This mirror, it's actually bigger in real life, and this doily are from Bohemia from my great-grandmother on my other side. We went to the Natural History Museum. And the fun thing about Stephen, for some reason, the woolly mammoth always finds us on a vacation. His dorm in college, when they excavated the dorm to build a new dorm, guess what was underneath his dorm? A woolly mammoth. He's from Colorado, so he explored all the rocks, of course. Now, this map is about 10 feet, I don't know. And it's very detailed. And so that was fun to explore. We saved receipts. One of the things about exploring culture is the foods, and cheese and wine are the flavor of the land, per se. When we did leave Prague, we drove through Moravia, and I didn't know that that was going to happen. So when we were in Prague, I bought some cheese from this cheese shop, and it just tastes just like Parmesan. But then when we did drive through Moravia, I noticed that the grapes and the bread were grown, wine and wheat were grown together. Kind of reminds me of communion. There's an early practice in homes, according to the Ethnographic Museum, where they put their spiritual belongings in the dining room, which was the most holy place in the house. And it's catty corner from the stove, kind of like a cultural progression. I did take a picture of the water pitcher that my great-grandmother had brought back, or brought to America. And you can see that the scenery matches the Moravian countryside on the side of the water pitcher. I thought that was amazing. So, discovered a lot of ethnographic information about my background. And this is the museum where we went to. I take brochures and kind of cut them up a little bit, do a little pasting and gluing. Gives a little context to what I'm seeing. I use an HP sprocket photo. Let's see here. I might glue these two together just to give some more foundation to the book. So, on a Sunday morning, we decided to get up early and watch the astronomical clock, and it was really, really wonderful. Had a few choir members sign their names to the book also. Going back to our date in Prague. So it's not necessarily in chronological order. That's my Bohemian grandmother. I have her holding her early picture. How much styles changed in the early 1900s. This was her parents when they got married in Illinois, in Chicago. So a lot of Bohemians migrated from Pilsen to Chicago, Moravia to Chicago, and Galveston, Texas. This is her mother, the bride in the picture. She resided in Wisconsin. This is a picture of the St. Charles Bridge again. And the interesting thing about this tunnel here and this one is that when you walk underneath them, you are coordinated. There's a crown in the roof of those bridges. I like the King Charles. He's got a nice legacy. Kind of explored him a bit. When we were at the museum, it was a bit hot, so we got the Coca-Cola of the Czech Republic. And on our trip, we got a Twix bar, and we noticed that there's a state law that you have to have a certain amount of chocolate in the chocolate bar. And yes, it does taste different than American chocolate. Okay, so one person we really wanted to explore was Jan Hus. Jan Hus invented the concept of liberty that America is founded on. It's the liberty of the soul, and he wanted everybody to read the Bible for themselves after he discovered that the Catholic Church was becoming corrupted. So I went to go to the monument in the town square and kind of prayed for freedom, for people's hearts. And when I took this picture, I thought, well, isn't that fun? My finger's pointing to a ray of light from heaven. So his idea is that to know justice is, if you know Jesus, you know justice. And so, of course, he was martyred for it, and that statue is about his martyrdom. So we went over to his church, very simple, still exists. He went to Germany to a council, and they burned him at the stake and used the Wycliffe Bibles as the fuel. And the interesting thing is that they do include women in the monument. Let me see if I go back a page. This whole idea about peace, it says, seek the truth, listen to the truth, learn the truth, live the truth, speak it, adhere it, defend it to the death. For truth will set you free from sin, the devil, and death. My deepest love, according to a discerned truth, which prevails over everything and is powerful forever. That's his saying. It's on the side of the statue. And not a lot of people knew who John Huss was. Open up this here. Just kind of wrote about our experience. And the thing with Prague is because they were run by the Soviet Union, they didn't have access to the Bible. And so we ran into a lot of people who had never heard of the gospel. This is a postcard from the church, and they had 3 entrances, and they were all based on equality, so anyone would come in and be found equal. And on the wall here, they found original inscription. But no one really knows what the church is about. When we went there, they were trying to film a movie, and I asked them if they knew who John Huss was, and some did, some didn't. Kind of sad, but they will. So later, we met the choir after practice and had a lunch at the Art Nouveau, Smetana Hall. The art is it's got a combination of Baroque and Rococo, but mostly Art Nouveau. And so, this is a picture of their performance. And then this is part of the program. What was fun is when we did our tour, on the side of the building, oops, I turned it the wrong way. On the side of the building, you saw the advertisement. Isn't that awesome? So, it was a well-attended concert, and here's the group that toured around town with us, part of the choir with Eva. Some of them went to Terezin, which is the concentration camp, and the members of those who sang there for a director, they wanted to sing in Prague, and they never got to. So our choir members held their legacy and were able to sing and fulfill the dream that they were not able to fulfill. I think that's the reason why the show or the concert was very well done. They were fabulous that night, absolutely fabulous. So this is just the list, and here's the inside of Smetana Hall. Pretty gorgeous. Here's the outside. And then some more pages to be filled. And we made some new friends, and really precious friends. And I had dinner with them a lot. Let's see here. Look at this. The fun thing about this paper that I'm using by Minte, it's called Bohemian Wedding. And just had a fabulous time. Look at the shoes. Speaking of the gospel, as we were walking around Jan Hus's grave, or memorial, we noticed the bars were getting ready for the day, and I asked the waitress if she knew anything about Jan Hus, and she hadn't. And as I explained it to her, she got goosebumps. She showed me her goosebumps, and I explained to her the gospel, and she says, I just feel really warm on the inside. And I said, well, that's the Holy Spirit showing you peace. And she cried. She says, can I pray with you? And I said, sure. So we shared with her about the peace of the Lord. So, there's my Prague book.